Hello again. Changes to our way of life came so rapidly and smoothly after the end of the COVID epidemic that it was hard not to assume that they had been planned beforehand, and the chaos of COVID simply provided a handy opportunity to implement them. Before COVID, there had been a lot of talk about how cash was on the way out, and then during the epidemic it was claimed that coins and banknotes carried germs and spread infection. Lo and behold, everybody began using contactless payment, even for small purchases such as a cup of coffee. The technology was already in place and everybody agreed how much easier it was to use a card rather than fumble for a load of coins. We stopped meeting up because of the risk of germs, and so WhatsApp, or I should say WhatsApp, it's an application on the phone instant messaging system, enjoyed a boom, and everybody began using Zoom to keep in touch. The same went for school lessons and university lectures. You really don't need to be in the classroom or lecture theatre in person. This could be a chance to reorganise society and change the way that we lived. A reset, in fact. By uncanny coincidence, somebody wrote a book called The Great Reset, and it was published in July 2020, just a few months into the COVID crisis. Either the author showed eerie prescience in describing all that happened as a result of the pandemic, or he had it all planned, and the world that we are now getting used to a few months later is one which was designed, not just a haphazard state of affairs and an adaptation to an extraordinary chain of circumstance. The book was called The Great Reset, and the main author was a fellow called Klaus Schwab. He is, of course, the man who started the World Economic Forum 52 years ago, and who has a great deal of influence in the world today. Reading his book almost seems like reading a blueprint for the modern world after the end of the pandemic. Schwab thinks it would be a good thing if we stopped moving around. He sees no reason for us to leave our homes at all, really. He says that we can buy everything online, watch plays and films in the same way, keep in touch with our friends virtually. In fact, he really doesn't see why anybody would ever want to leave their house. It's not actually funny, of course, because we are seeing all this come to pass before our very eyes. For Klaus Schwab, the pandemic was not a bad thing at all. It was a chance to alter the world for the better. While the rest of the world was agonising over the death toll, he was celebrating the marvellous opportunity to produce a brave new world. As he wrote, history shows that epidemics have been the great resetters of countries' economies and social fabric. If the COVID pandemic had not come along, then we might never have adopted so enthusiastically the programme which Schwab sets out in The Great Reset. In the description to this video, I give a link to this book on Amazon, and I thoroughly recommend it. Even if the COVID virus was a completely random event, it has to be said that Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum were exceedingly quick off the mark to take advantage of it and push forward some ideas which they had been itching to launch as soon as a convenient excuse presented itself.